The Pixel 9a gets announced and then delayed. My cup of tea this week is a cleaning companion for my new apartment. Handheld gaming continues to evolve in multiple ways, and the Pebble Resurrection is officially available for pre-order. Sorry for taking a little while to make a new episode, but this past week or so has been all about me moving into my own new place. Hey, it's Joshua Vergara. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Tech and Tea. The Pebble has officially risen from the dead, and it's on its way later this year under a new name. I like how Eric Mijakovsky made the announcement saying that there are 2 new PebbleOS watches coming, even though they're actually called the Core smartwatches. I know that the Pebble name is probably trademarked to Google, but apparently PebbleOS as a name is not. Legal stuff is confusing and interesting. Anyway, we have 2 new watches coming that take on the general look and feel of the original Pebble 2, complete with the always-on e-paper screens and big physical buttons. The Core 2 Duo, which we have down here, and it sounds like an old Intel processor, it runs a black and white display while itself being either black or white. Compared to the old Pebble 2, it's an improvement in almost every single way with 30 days of battery life, as you can see right here. That's compared to the 7 that we got years ago. It has an added speaker and much better haptics, stronger haptics. It's a great example of how much better even just the core parts of our tech have gotten over time. Also, check this out. If you look at this paragraph, since this watch will look and feel just like a Pebble 2, you can refamiliarize yourself with it via videos or reviews. If you click videos here, it actually opens up the old Pebble 2 review that I did as a way of collaborating with Mr. Mobile, and also for us to eulogize Pebble as a product and as a company, which obviously has, in a way, resurrected. That's pretty cool. For something a little more premium, you can actually go for the Core Time 2, and its analog is the old Pebble Time 2, even though it looks like the Pebble 2. It has a larger color display, it runs all of the Pebble apps and watch faces that we probably remember from the old watches. It sports a metal frame instead, and it has the same claim of 30 days of battery life over the, let's say, week or so that we had back in the day. The other interesting thing about the Core Time 2 is that it sports a touchscreen. Now the touchscreen, as he talks about a little bit later in the Q&A, the touchscreen felt like a necessary evolution or step forward from just all buttons all the time due to one particular smartwatch trope: complications. Eric Mijakovsky does appreciate the ability to just touch the screen for certain things like glanceable information like the weather, next calendar event, step count, and adding the touchscreen adds the ability to get into the associated app rather than just going through the menu, which on these Core smartwatches you'd have to do via just the buttons like in the old days. Now the 2 watches are up for pre-order now, and you can take a look at the specs and the differences between them. And the Core 2 Duo is the one that comes in at $149, and then the more premium Core Time 2 comes in at $225. But if you're looking to get the smartwatches on your wrists as soon as possible, you might have to wait a little bit. The Core 2 Duo comes out in July, starts shipping rather, and then the Core Time 2 starts shipping at the end of the year. And as far as I'm concerned, you bet your ass I ordered one of each. Now that I'm in my new place, I needed to make sure I had help keeping it clean, and that's where this week's cup of tea comes in, courtesy of Dreame. A big thanks to Dreame for hooking me up with their L10s Ultra Gen 2 and for sponsoring this video. Now, it's no surprise that it's a lot of money outfitting a new apartment. From my fancy cooking ware to the couch to the comfy bed that I don't even have yet, the costs can really pile up in a hurry. And that's why the Dreame L10s Ultra Gen 2 was a compelling choice as a vacuum and mop cleaner that sports plenty of the high-end features that you'd get with robot vacuums upwards of twice the price. I've actually tucked it away in my walk-in closet back here where it fits just right because the full-featured base station isn't too bulky. All I have to do is open up the closet door, move some stuff out of the way, fire up the app in the connected smartphone, and start my smart cleaning. Now before we let the Dreame do its thing, let's take a look at some of the main features of the unit itself. The L10s Ultra Gen 2 uses this LDS system and the front vision along with its bumpers to get around and perform obstacle avoidance, while 10,000 Pascal units of suction will make sure to round up all of the little bits and pieces that my floor has collected after opening or breaking down so many different boxes. The main brush works to scoop everything up while the dual rotary mops perform the mopping when set to do so. 2 fun things about these mops. Not only are they able to rise up to 10.5 millimeters to make sure certain areas like the carpets right here don't get damp from the moistened pads, one of them actually reaches out to the side in order to perform edge and corner cleaning effectively. They call this feature in the Duo Scrub mopping system the Mop Extend Robo Swing. Fun name. Of course, vacuuming and mopping and all of the smart cleaning processes start and stop with this base station, which Dreame have outfitted with plenty of great convenient features. This is where the battery gets charged, the dust and solid bits collected by the vacuum will get cleaned out into the dustbin, and the mops will get refreshed with water from the tanks found above. There is also a cleaning solution that the L10s Ultra Gen 2 uses for even better mopping. And when it's all done with the vacuuming and the mopping, the solid bits end up in the high-capacity dustbin that should go without replacement for a good while, and then the dirty water collects in the other tank for easy cleanup. Speaking of that water and cleaning solution, there is a setting in the robust smartphone app that lets you pick optimal water and solution ratios and 32 wetness levels for whatever you think your floor might need. My floors are still pretty fresh though, so I don't think I need too much, but if you've seen me do some cleaning in my office space, that one definitely needs these levels maxed out. It all comes together to make for a cleaning solution that pretty much works all by itself, especially if you schedule cleans on the smartphone app. Even if it is set it and forget it, I tend to set things myself. So with that said, let's get this cleaner moving. Starting with the edges and corners, the Mop Extend Robo Swing is doing its job already as the vacuum plots out the outer portion of the map before performing its zigzags across the floors. One thing that I notice and already appreciate about the vacuum's mapping capabilities is that it's noting all of the carpets from the walk-in closet to the bedroom to the area rug that is over in my couch area. That's one of the key features of this unit, that it can perform comprehensive carpet cleaning with different modes and methods. I notice in this cycle, it's jumping and popping around the edges of the carpet first before hopping onto it and doing the signature zigzag. And of course, it's raising those mops so that it's not wetting the carpet as much as it is on the floors when it is properly mopping. After getting through most of the floor in the living room and the kitchen, the L10s Ultra Gen 2 makes sure to head back over to the base station for a quick top up and refresh of the mops. The cleaning of the mops with the water in the tank up here gets filtered out into the other tank, which I can just empty out. And when the full cycle is over, the same cleaning ends with a blast of warm air to help dry the mops more efficiently. By the way, there is a water hookup kit available separately so that you can connect the base station to a water line and not have to worry about even messing with these tanks. Okay, so far I've been using this vacuum normally for cleaning up this new apartment of mine, but we wouldn't have a proper vacuum test without some of the typical spills, both wet and dry. As you can see here, we have some more severe issues to address that could happen from time to time. Let's get this cleaned up by getting into the smartphone app, selecting the specific area here to clean, and turning up the levels in both the vacuum suction power and the cleaning wetness of the mops. As you can see, the vacuum is doing a great job of scooping up not just the bits and pieces that are there, but also the spilled milk that is on the floor. And for good measure, I went ahead and had it mop this area one more time to make sure everything was good to go. And so there you have it, a new cleaning companion that is also a perfect fit for this new apartment of mine. If you want to check out the Dreame L10s Ultra Gen 2 for yourself, you can check out the links that are in the description below and also in the pinned comment. Thanks again to Dreame for outfitting me with the L10s Ultra Gen 2 and for sponsoring this episode of Tech and Tea. On the topic of pre-orders, there's another new product that I decided to, well, pre-order, the Retroid Pocket Flip 2. If you've been living under a tech or gaming rock, let me tell you, handheld emulation devices are huge right now, and there are so many coming. If you're all about getting into some classic games, either through emulating your old library or via ports that have come to Android, handhelds like these are a great way to do it. And honestly, how could I not want something like this clamshelled from Retroid, especially when it comes in a bunch of really cool colors? You can go for the ice blue, which has that transparency, or go for the old Super Nintendo look, or go for this GameCube one. The screen on the Pocket Flip 2 is a 5.5-inch 1080p AMOLED display, which should be a joy to game on. And then, as you can see on the page here, there are a couple of different models. One that sports the Snapdragon 865, and one that sports the MediaTek Dimensity 1100. Now, these are processors that have already proven themselves in other Retroid products, so this new form factor is the main difference compared to all of them. Ideally. I actually scooped up a couple of them, one for me and one for my girlfriend, but if I can check here, if I look at the Dimensity version, yeah, the Dimensity editions of them are sold out. It's likely that the cheaper price of the Dimensity versions ended up being the reason why they sold out, for sure. But honestly, I can't wait to get these because I want to play some of my old favorites like emulated Chrono Cross or even GTA San Andreas, which has a port in the Google Play Store. It's going to be a really good time, and then I can just close it with that clamshell, pack it up, and play somewhere else. Speaking of these processors, Qualcomm continues their development of their gaming-forward G series SoCs with some announcements at the recent Game Developer Conference. One thing I have to say here, while Sina in this headline is saying that these chips will power future Steam Deck competitors, let's be real here. Steam Deck competitors would be able to legitimately play PC games, not just mobile or emulated games, but it is something I wish that I could see Qualcomm try to tackle in the handheld space. That would require use of their X series processors in some sort of way, but we've yet to see any movement or further support from game developers in that regard. Anyway, the G series of processors made their debut at GDC in a few different flavors, including the Snapdragon G3 Gen 3, which is for higher-end handhelds, like for example this crazy-looking 1X Player 1X Sugar 1. It's an equally crazy sounding name as well. But take a look at this thing. It kind of looks like a chunky sort of like Switch type device, but then, oh yeah, there you go, I kind of skipped it. You can flip up one of the screens and then bring the controllers down. I still don't quite understand exactly how this really works, but it's basically the Nintendo DS of the future. The other two chips decrease their overall performance accordingly. They are lower tiers after all, with the Snapdragon G1 Gen 2 being the entry level of this new trio of processors. It's pretty crazy to see how Snapdragon is actively supporting the expansion of these handhelds, basically, which you can call emulation machines if you're just into that sort of thing, or if you just look at them that way. If nothing else, it shows that everyone involved really does love the classics, and it manifests in the ability to play the old school games and handhelds that themselves look like blasts from the past. Well, the tea is ready. The tea I'm enjoying in this episode is barley tea, called mugicha in Japan and boricha in Korean. I'm actually using these bags of tea, these large ones, from this box I got from a Korean supermarket. Shouts out to H-Mart. You can actually just throw this into a boiling pot of hot water or cold brew it up by using a bottle like the fancy Hario cold brew maker that you've been seeing me use in between these stories. It's really simple. You just throw a bag in, fill it with water, put it all in the fridge overnight or at least for an hour, even if at room temperature, and you get a nice roasted flavor in this caffeine-free tea. As this boricha makes a long time to make, I figured today's tea break could be a simple reminder. Things take time. I mentioned it during the intro, but I have officially moved into my own place. It's a new apartment that I can't wait to outfit with all of the tech I've accrued over the years and with plenty of new items. And it's a big deal because I'll give you a bit of a look into my personal life. Like many in the Asian community, or really in my millennial generation, I've actually been living with my family for many years up until now. It was partially for saving money, partially not needing to really worry about having my own place because I actually get along really well with my family. The thing is, 10 years of doing this whole tech YouTube thing has really outgrown the space that I had, so it took time for me to reach the point where I needed to just get my own place. And I'm very blessed to be able to make the move pretty comfortably, and in an area and in a complex building that I'm really happy with. Which is all to say, sometimes the next moves in our lives simply take some time, and that's okay. Whatever your goals are, whatever it might be that you desire for your life, it might take time, and it will all come together when it is meant to. Let things be, let things marinate, let things steep for however long you need them to. And your hard work, and more importantly, your patience, is likely to be rewarded. If anything, it will certainly feel like a reward when it finally happens. So, as always, I want to know from you. What's going on, everybody? Let me know what you're working towards and letting steep for a while before you make that move. Let me know in the comments and let's chat a bit because I hope you come for the tech, but you stay for the tea. All right, guys, let's bring it on home with this week's episode. And finally, a last teaser of sorts. And it has to be a teaser because while I would have loved to bring you a proper look at the newly announced Pixel 9a, Google announced and then promptly delayed the pre-order. What you're seeing here is all of the footage and B-roll that I did take during a hands-on briefing where I got a really good look at the new design of the A series that actually departs quite a bit from the mainline Pixel 9 lineup. It's a much flatter device without the Cyclops visor for the camera package, but it retains most of the size and general shape of the previous Pixel 8a otherwise. The main claims made with the Pixel 9a are the updated processor and the battery life, helped along with what Google say is the largest battery ever seen in a Pixel. What makes the A series so interesting each year is how it brings many of the software-driven features of the mainline Pixels for a price that really undercuts the flagship releases. So you're getting things like AdMe in the cameras, the Magic Editor, and of course Gemini Assistance in a sub-$500 phone. However, on the Gemini front, apparently, some things are being kept for the non-A phones because this version of the Pixel, the 9A, will not be able to do the call notes or have access to the Pixel Screenshots app. Now, the delay on the Pixel 9a is due to a component quality issue, apparently, according to Google. It's also apparently affecting a small number of Pixel 9a devices, but in cases like this, due diligence is usually appreciated, even if it means we have to wait until April now to finally get our hands on a $499 Pixel. And so, there you have it. Let me know your thoughts about any of the stories in the comments down below, and maybe answer me this question. What color of the Pixel 9a would you want? I want to give one more shout out to Dreame for sponsoring a segment on this episode of Tech and Tea and for outfitting me with their robot vacuum, the L10s Ultra Gen 2. Thanks so much. It's definitely going to help in this apartment. But from there, I will say cheers. Thank you so much for kicking it with me again on this episode of Tech and Tea. Please take care of yourselves and each other and enjoy your tea, everybody.